Hello, I am now back in my apartment to teach you how dialogue and choice works in Cyberscript Studio and how to make it. Before I teach you all the ins and outs of it, we're going to watch a custom dialogue sequence I have set up for a big project I'm working on for Gangs of Night City, and you will see this firsthand sneak peek, and I'll explain it all after. We're just gonna go over here. Got it. I'll get it done. May Centauri watch over us.
Make sure your implant is always the latest.
And this will initiate. Oh, fuck, were you always there? Did you hear anything I said? Anything? See, now we have our next, we have a choice.
Get a job.
Which is
Stop
only one
scaring
choice,
people.
but it's something, right? This will just, what I'm doing is I'm about to be calling another set of subtitles and sounds for this particular event here. And also there is going to be variables, new variables being set in this moment in order for the next dialogue sequence to happen. Fuck, it don't matter how much you heard, how little you heard. You heard something, and that's not good. So we are both in a little predicament here. So now I have the option to ask for more information, which is essentially calling an extra set of custom sounds with a subtitle attached to it before the initial subtitle branch is called to continue this whole dialogue sequence. Which I mean is this option would get us more straightforward to the point for this dialogue sequence, but for this we're gonna go for more information and see what happens. Oh, that? Well, just, you didn't hear that. My predicament is, it is my daughter's birthday today, and I really did not want to miss this. And it just so happens my boss needs me into the office today. And I really don't want to do it. In fact, I really want to quit. Your predicament, stranger. My boss wants you dead. Anyone that hears a conversation, even knows of what I'm doing, what I've done, dies. But I'm sparing you in the hopes that you take this job. Consider it an ultimatum, really. And now we have the option to be more straightforward to it, or we ask who the boss is. And I've obviously set this up to where you cannot understand who the boss is yet. You will soon, or later. I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. There's just an extra
That's
set
who they are. I'm sorry to do this to you, stranger, but you just came at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's just how it be. So, take the job or disappear. Your choice. So now we can just go straight forward to it and accept the mission, obviously, or we just try and say no. But let's try and say no, because, you know, it doesn't. I didn't really set it up to where you could fight this guy, but it's pretty funny to just hear what he says. No. Well, if you didn't hear anything, you'd walk past me, wouldn't you? Minding your own business. But here you are. How about you take the warning and get the fuck out of here, Gong? So now, that dialogue, I could have made better, but we won't worry about that right now. So now we can either just accept it or accept it, but what the fuck's the pay before we accept it? I mean, it doesn't really fucking matter. Well, the payment, that's always variable, depending on who the client is. As always. Fucking Nova. Alright, stranger. Let me give you the details and who your client is. Your client, stranger, is in the Vista Del Rey district. All you need to know is they're waiting on someone to chat. That's all you need to know. Here's the marker on your hollow map. Get to it. And now it starts the mission. Now this guy just kind of stands there. So, what just happened? So I'll show you. Let's pause the game first. I'm going to show you exactly what the fuck you just watched. We're going to go to Project, Mods, Gangs of Night City, Open. And we're going to go to Choice. Before we go to Choice, I'm going to show you how the dialogue even popped up to begin with. If I can find him in this long list of NPCs. Probably not. Let's see. I think I can type it in. Yeah. Hit. There you go. So I have a custom NPC spawn. Once I get into the radius of his spawn, he starts to talk, as what you saw when we're walking towards him. He was starting to talk. And then once we got near him, which is this wait for trigger, this is me getting near him, it does a little lip sync function here. Then it will do its little things here. It will set a new variable to initiate the dialogue, because we want to set, if we're having multiple different choices for dialogue, we need to make sure it's nice and organized. So I utilize that by setting variables for the dialogue. So the dialogue can't happen until you talk to this NPC, and there's no way around that unless you just go in here and just test it. It's kind of like foolproofing in a way. So then it calls the dialogue here. And then we will move over to, sorry, I'm yawning. Oh, God. To the actual dialogue. Let's take this out. So now we have the actual dialogue. And this is where most of it starts to happen. As you can see, it has a trigger, and the requirement is going to be the same name as the trigger. It's going to be looking for the initiate dialogue value, which was set to true after we encountered the NPC. So you could try and call this dialogue. However, you need to make sure this trigger is met. And you can check too in the tools variable editor. And since I'm very organizational, my variable name is always going to be Mad World in this particular stance, because there's a lot of keys I'm going to be using here. So we have our variable Mad World, and we're going to look for initiate dialogue, the first one. And it's set to true because I set to true in the custom NPC script. So this will pop up now. Once we click on it, you can kind of see that choosing a choice is just basically calling a function, but it's all in one script. That's what makes it pretty cool. So once we call it, you saw that we got more sounds and subtitles going on, and then we set another variable so the next dialogue can show up properly. And then it initiates the second dialogue, and you can see where the loop is starting to go. For our multiple choice ones, I essentially just added just an extra set of dialogue and subtitles before you get to the next like actual cut and dry answer from the NPC itself. So in this last dialogue, we are just setting a variable, which you never really see. That's okay. I don't really know why I have. Oh, I know why. So once you're doing like some complex stuff with dialogues, not just like playing a sound or setting a variable, you can in parallel call other things, if that makes sense. I will show you 1 second. I need to find it, which won't take long because I know where exactly, I should know exactly where I put it. Let's see here. It will be in, should be in this one. Probably not. No, it's not in that one. My bad. This is where I embarrass myself and not like actually find it correctly. and it's just gonna be in the fourth one. Watch. I already know it. I should. That was like my first premonition too. That's crazy. Or less. I'm tricking myself here. I am. So I have another event set, if that makes sense. I have something else that's set. So hit issuer movements. What is it doing? I'm basically having this being called as the dialogue sequence is going. It will do one animation for that entity. And then it's going to wait for a certain variable to be made, as you can see here. So as I'm going on, this function is going on as the dialogue goes on, and it's waiting for certain variables to be met through dialogue choice, if that makes any sense. So for instance, if that function is running, right, it's waiting for a trigger. Say it's waiting for the variable hit issuer dialog anim sequence step 4. It's waiting for that to be set, which would be set through dialogue choices. Both of these would do the same thing. And then, you know, you can see where you can put multiple different scripts parallel to each other and make every one of them connect to each other in some way. Doesn't matter how dirty it looks, how tedious it looks, it's the end result that will matter. And as you saw, it didn't look like much was going on while you watched the dialogue sequence, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on under the curtain. So then, after all of that is done, the mission is forced. Now, as the anim sequence also is, the mission cannot be activated forcefully even unless you have the trigger met. And I did set a trigger for the Mad World first mission to be set. And that trigger is, well, you probably guessed it, or not. It needs a variable to be fulfilled. And I set that variable within the last functions here, or the last dialogue bits here. I set that variable here, so this can be activated pretty nonchalantly. And then we can go and do the quest. Easy peasy. You know, all we do is open this up, look for it, and there it is. Mad World. It's right there. We can go do it. And then I will now, okay, this guy needs to shut up. We will talk about missions in the next video. So I hope this made sense. If not, then you could totally message me on Discord about any clarity. I could totally do that. Next video will be about missions and mission making. It's going to be a pretty long one.